Guys, welcome back. The insurance panel is back again. If you haven't noticed by now, we've got another guest with here, another M&M of the insurance business, Matt Mungia. Or is it Mungia for those who don't know?
You nailed it.
Yeah.
You nailed
well,
it. I think you're the only one that's ever nailed it.
Well, I nailed it because you told me one time, and I'll never forget it. But I wanted you to explain how many people mess it up. So many people get Mungia, and
I've heard it all.
Told me, yeah, you've heard it all. He's joining us today. We had this scheduled out for a little bit. We would have Vince, but we just kind of scheduled this one before Vince came on board with us. And then always we've got Nick Frumkin. Nick, say hello, man. How you doing?
How you doing, guys?
Good. Well, I appreciate it. We're taking a little bit of late time. It's the weekend. It's Sunday. We all just got back. I just got back from the beach. Literally just jumped on the phone with these guys and ready to talk about a very good topic that's going to be perfect for Matt and really perfect for Nick, because I know Nick has strong opinions on this. But if you haven't by now, because we're really close, I have a sticker from the place we were at. If you haven't by now, take the chance to like, comment, subscribe. We're getting pretty close to the 300 subscriber mark. So it's super cool. I'm realizing how many people are actually watching these videos. I didn't know that Matt was a fan of these videos until I found out he was going to be a guest. So it's super cool to have you on here, man. Welcome.
Yeah, well, thanks for letting me be on. And yeah, I have been watching. I know me and you have done some videos in the past, so it's good to be back on. Thanks for the invite. It's good to see you again. I think last time I saw you, was October-ish or so. And
yeah,
Nick, I just saw Nick in Budapest.
Yeah.
What, 2 months ago, Nick?
Yeah.
I think?
Feels like yesterday. It does. I mean, that was a good trip.
That's right. So it's good to see you all again. Thanks for having me.
Actually, yeah, the insurance panel was actually a brainchild of an insurance group that Nick was a big part of making. And I decided I want to start shooting videos with high-level producers like Matt, Nick, and other folks. And then the YouTube channel became part of, the kind of the brainchild of this whole thing. So kind of full circle for all of us. And it's almost been a year now, believe it or not, Nick, because I started, interviewing people back in September, October of last year. So we're closing in on a year. So pretty cool. And for those that don't know Matt, Matt is the owner of, tell me if I'm wrong, 360 Financial Group. Is that correct?
360 and the Insurance Squad.
Insurance Squad, that's right. So he's one of the very few people who produce and recruit, which is a really rare trait we're finding more and more on the insurance forums. So it's super cool to have you on, man. But let's talk about it. Let's talk about being a jack of all trades or a master of none or a master of one. Whatever. What's the topic again? I forgot.
Specialist. Versus being a specialist.
Specialist. Yeah. Being a jack of all trades or being a specialist. And some people, they jump into insurance, and I've seen too many agents get analysis paralysis when they just get final expense. And then they get 10 companies with 3 different products apiece, and they go into a home and they have no idea what to say or no idea what to do. So I can only imagine what it would be like for an agent that has no idea what they're doing, and then jump in and go P&C, Medicare, final expense, mortgage protection, all in one. So I'm a big proponent of being a specialist first and adding on little things as you see fit, but definitely not from day one. But I want to hear Matt's thought on that.
Yeah. Well, I wish I could fight with you on this, but I agree. I think that it's probably smart and more beneficial to learn something and learn it well, get good at it, before you start branching out and adding things to it. Now, I'm a huge proponent now. At first, I was, hey, be a master at this and run full force and close your, put the blinders on and just move forward with this. But, now as I've been in the business longer, I've switched my mindset on that. So I think adding later, but you got to, I'm with you on, hey, learn something right now and then just start adding later. But I don't know. I think Nick is the one that has the opposing view on this one, if I'm not
probably sort of not necessarily completely different, but I'm a big believer that in the idea that all of your business should make sense together. So, and I do think when you're very, very first starting, and I think we all agree, like, pick one thing to start with, learn it, get good at it. Don't try and learn everything all together at the same time, because then you don't learn any of it really well, right?
Sure.
But I believe that all of your business should work together. So for me, for example, before I got into final expense, I worked for a company that did supplemental insurance, and we did a bunch of different types of stuff. And I started selling Medicare and Medicare supplements, and I still do. I worked briefly with a group that was doing retirement planning and like using IULs to do stuff. And so I was working with really rich people and really poor people and kind of 30 and 40-year-olds and like seniors, and I was kind of working with everybody all over the place. And it was really hard for me to kind of focus in on what was going on in my business. And I think one of the things for me personally that was really beneficial was when I decided, hey, you know what? My market is people 55 and up who make less than $30,000 a year. And that's my market. And if that means that I'm working with them to sell them a Med Sup or a Medicare Advantage plan or a hospital plan or a prescription drug plan or like 99% of the time a final expense plan, that's fine. It probably means I'm not going to do a lot of annuities. I do some. But it probably means I'm not going to do a lot of single premium. I do some. I'm probably going to do not a lot of term. I do almost none. You know, and that's kind of because my market is that group. And I think that it's important that you have an idea of what you're trying to market to, so you understand the group of people that you're seeing, and you're not trying to see everybody. You're not trying to get your 35-year-old friends and their grandparents and the people who are sending in lead cards who are 70 years old and doing dinner seminars to try and get 50-year-olds with $1 million in their bank account and everything, because you spread yourself too thin.
That's right.
Yeah. I also think it's can be dependent. I mean, it's also going to be depends on their income situation at that time when they're coming in too. So I believe if you have an agent that like most final expense agents coming in, they're dead broke. And so I think it helps them focus on, look, final expense is known for the upfront money. Make some money there. Once you get your bank account right, then you can start adding this, that, and the other to the mix. But we got to make sure that you're going to survive in the first several months, which is the hardest part. If somebody's coming in and they have $15,000 sitting in the bank, then they probably could get away with learning, and they're dead set on learning, you say Medicare Advantage and final expense. Okay, well then you have some cushion to play with there. But most of the agents, unless you're talking to you guys are talking to all the ones with money, but the ones I talk to are they're broke.
Right. Well, and because it's going to slow down your learning process, right? If you're trying to learn 5 different things in 5 different markets, it's not that you can't learn how to do all of that. It's just it's going to take you longer. You only have so much brain space and attention span, right? You will get off the ground faster. I think you're absolutely right, Matt. You'll get off the ground so much faster if you just pick a thing to start with.
Yeah, I mean, I'll never forget. I was with a certain company of a dead president's heritage, and I was sitting with a client, and I just sold her a policy, and she said, "What are you going to do for my grandson who is 30 years old?" And I was like, "I'm going to get him a final expense policy because everybody's going to die, right?" And it sounded good at the time, but I realized that I needed to expand my portfolio. So I went home and I learned a little bit more. And then I got better. Once I started learning those things, it was like I had final expense where I could just run it on automation. And then I started to learn about term products and universal life products and IUL products and those things. And I got better and better at each time. But you have to be really a specialist, if you may, at this one thing where it's almost on autopilot, like where you're going to be able to go out no matter what the week, no matter the day, and write your 2 or 3 sales a day or your $5,000 in annualized premium for the week. You have to know that you're going to do that before you go try to do anything else. And you said a couple of months, Matt, but we talked a little bit before, and there might be a link in the description somewhere, about the first year. We did it with Chris Smith. About the first year, I think that you need to be doing something full-time for a whole year before you switch into a different market, not just a couple months, because if you try to do it too early, I mean, someone might have super early success and go 3 months and crush it and go write $15,000 or $20,000 the first 3 months from back to back to back, and now they have a bankroll, and then they switch gears trying to get into Medicare or something, and they lose it all, and they haven't really refined their skill set to be a master at final expense yet. They just had a great 3 months because they were brand new and they were excited. I think you need to keep that excitement for a year and then say, okay, now I've got a book of business that I can go talk to about this. And because those clients know me, I can mess up a little bit more before I really go buy some leads into those other products.
Right. No, I don't disagree with that one bit. Another way that they could, do this, if, and let's just talk about what pairs well with final expense, which is Medicare Advantage, for example. They want to learn Medicare Advantage. Okay, then guess what? Maybe do 1 day a week of Medicare Advantage. That's your 1 day, but you got to, the other 4 days, focus on what you're good at, what you already know, possibly, which is final expense. Make sure you're getting the bills paid with your final expense stuff, and maybe break in 1 day. So call it Medicare Monday, where every Monday you call on Saturday, or you do Medicare, whatever it is. Medicare is all day Monday. You're just working on Medicare stuff, and whether that's studying for it, whether that's being out in the field, shadowing somebody that's good at it or knows it, or working it yourself, maybe slowly start incorporating that. Or like you said, a lot of times the first 9 months are the hardest because you're not getting that other 25%. They're holding back, right, on the advances. So maybe you work at 9 months. So month 10, you start getting that extra roll in income. So, but yeah, I don't disagree at all with what you said.
Sure.
Yeah, and I think it's important that you do have a home base, like you were saying, Matt. Final expense is the thing that that's what you build most of your week around, and then you set aside a little bit of time to do another thing so you can learn that thing. I think it's important that everybody has a home base product, I guess. That's the thing that they are getting in the door with or leading with, or that's what they're buying leads for, something. And that you sort of build your business around a little bit. So for me, I ended up building my business around final expense. Which means that I only buy final expense leads, and anybody that I sell that's not a final expense lead is either coming as a referral or they're coming as a cross sale, essentially, either on the day or coming back to them after they're a client, to kind of get other things going on with that. And I think that's an important part of it also. I think especially when the debate comes up about should you be a jack of all trades or a specialist, I think that's something that ends up getting lost in the discussion a lot, is, you can do a bunch of stuff, but you still have to have some way to focus your attention.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we all need to say something to like the people that may be watching this, and mine's really just going to be, and I may be speaking for all of us, it's just saying you're eventually going to become a specialist at all these things. Just focus on what your upline is telling you, which is be good at this one thing, and you'll learn the other stuff as it comes on board. Similar to what Nick said about in one of the videos, is learn that one company and write with that one company, even if it goes a way you don't want it to, until you find that niche and go to that other company that's going to fill that niche that you can't fill with that one company. And before you know it, you'll have 2 or 3 or 4 companies where you can write all of your cases level and not have to worry about writing any modified business. But early on, just write with that one company until you figure it out, until you know their underwriting like the back of your hand, until you know final expense and you can teach it to an 8-year-old or a 10-year-old. I wouldn't try anything else, or mortgage protection, or Medicare, or whatever you're doing. Awkward
Sounds good.
sounds. I'm going to keep going.
Yeah. No, I mean, that sounds good.
Yeah. What else you got, Nick?
I don't know. You're usually the one that's in charge of asking questions, so
Gotcha.
I don't know.
Okay.
But I think I'm surprised a little bit how much we are all agreeing. But I think at the end of the day, when you actually start talking about some of this stuff, a little bit of it does start to feel like common sense, you know. And for as hotly a debated topic as this seems to be sometimes, I think when you start getting people who actually work in the business regularly, all in a room together, no matter what you are saying, like whatever the soundbite is, the end result of what's meant behind that almost always comes down to the same thing, which is you need to have something that you focus on, but that, yeah, you should probably do whatever fits in and what folds into that.
Yeah, I think Matt said it really great, which is take one day a week to eventually you're getting whatever you need done. Say it took you 5 days to do your amount of sales that you needed for the week. Learn how to do that in 4 days, so you can spend that extra day not at home, but focusing on something that you're going to get better at, and that allows you to still make your premium up, or your annualized premium for the week, but also allowing you to learn something new. You're eventually going to get good at it. You got to get really, and I mean really good. I'm talking 10,000 hours, or as Nick said in the last video that people apparently hate, is doing $1 million in production. Jeez, man, you got some flack for that one, Nick.
Man, people hate that I said that you need to have done $1 million in production in order to consider starting to recruit. People really,
you know what? Let me speak on something real quick. What kind of opened my eyes was when we had some Medicare only agencies kind of reach out, and they needed help because they were losing a lot of agents in that first year in Medicare, because in Medicare, as y'all probably already know, the upfront money is not all that hot. It's not all that great. Medicare is known for the renewals. And so they're like, well, we need to learn final expense in order to keep our agents on board, keep the lights on so they can pay their bills and this and that and the other. And I was taken aback because these people are known for only Medicare and only dealing, being specialists. And when they started thinking like that, I started thinking, okay, well, why don't we start adding Medicare to the mix? Because, final expense is, every single year you start back at zero again, because the renewals are not that hot. It's known for the upfront money, great upfront money.
Yeah.
In insurance, one of the best for sure, upfront money. But what if we start pairing that the opposite way? These guys are pairing it with final expense. What if we pair it with Medicare? And so, we started doing that ourselves. And, I think that's the smartest way to do it is we were already pretty good at final expense. So it made it a lot easier to start adding Medicare. Just take 1 day, start adding it slowly but surely. And before you know it, we have guys now that are completely doing 100% Medicare because they've already, they're on it. You know what I mean? And they got the renewals starting to come in, and they built enough cushion on the final expense side.
And the renewals on Medicare are nice. Do you, so Matt, let me ask you this. When a new agent or when a new person who's not even licensed yet contacts you and says, hey, I'm thinking about getting into the insurance industry. I've heard about the insurance squad. I want to sign up with you. Can you give me some help? Do you suggest that they get a health and life license together to start off?
Yes. Get both. Doesn't mean you have to use both.
Right.
But that way later you don't, if you say, hey, Matt, I want to add Medicare to my business, months later, I want to start adding Medicare to my business now. You don't have to go back, have that interruption of going, because that happens right now where, they want to add Medicare to their arsenal, but Okay, now, but you don't have a health license. Now you got to go and study for that, and 2 weeks there, and then get your license another week. Or like in Texas, it takes forever to get your license, sometimes a month. And so it's just an interruption. So just get the life and health to begin with.
No, I got a text message from a friend of mine in the business who's life licensed only yesterday, who texted me, and he's like, "Hey, Nick, I know it's August 1st or 2nd or whatever, but it's the beginning of August. If I went and took my test for my health license by the end of the month, do you think that I could be ready for AEP this year?" And I'm kind of like, yeah, like if you really, really, really are on it, and you're like getting ready to pull the trigger on all of your contracts, and you take your license, and I don't know, can you take your AF on the same day that you get licensed? Like it's all like maybe. But it's tricky once you're actually out and you're working and like trying to figure out how to pick up an additional license. That's actually way more time consuming. That's harder.
Yeah, that and I don't think that guy will make it through AEP season. I mean, he's not going to have the upfront commissions to make it. I would tell him.
He's a successful final expense producer already.
Okay.
He's working. He's writing a couple $100,000 of final expense every year, and he's just like. This is a buddy of mine in the industry who's been doing this. He just never got a health license, and he was just like, I want to do it, but I don't know. Like, I can't ever seem to find the time to actually pick up the license. This is 3 years in a row now. He's been like, I want to get my license. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
Well, here's the great thing also about if he knows final expense well, since it pairs well with Medicare Advantage, for example, there's year-round opportunities. I mean, it's year-round. So let's just say he gets it and he's late for AEP or what have you. Doesn't matter, in my opinion, because it is a year-round. I mean, think about Nick, all the opportunities we have. Once they're a client, you can contact them till you're blue in the face and talk all day long. And think about our leads for final expense already, right? I mean, travel for sure. Over half of them are diabetic or have a health issue or dual eligible. They're low income. LIS, so
the LIS, man, I don't know any person that I have ever talked to that doesn't qualify for extra help in some form.
Right.
Yeah. Like they almost, like 88% of everybody I talk to qualifies for a special election period.
Right.
Like, so.
Shout out to the cross-selling video that we did with Vince the other day, because we're getting right into let's do some cross-sell part 2 with Matt Mungia. So you might as well jump right into that.
Yeah. How many minutes in are we right now?
We're coming in on 20.
20? All right, I'll make a note.
Yeah, we're coming in. I don't really know how long we've been doing this, but it's funny whenever we do these videos, and I talked to my wife today, and she's like, "Oh, like you're gonna do it again? Like you work so much." I'm like, "It's not work. Like I love talking about final expense, insurance, or insurance in general. It's not work to me because it sparks joy in my life whenever I do this stuff. So it's never worked for me to do this it may be Sunday at almost 9 o'clock in South Carolina, but I want to do this rather than watching HGTV talking about how much more money we're going to spend on our house. That's just something I want to do. So
that's good.
It's a good career. I'm a nerd. I'm happy to talk about this stuff all the time, but I don't know. It's nice to be able to get to talk to you guys. It's nice to be able to get to talk to other people who do this job, because this job is different than most jobs. So I like it.
Really, really quickly, because we do appreciate Matt being on here. If you want to take the time to plug yourself a little bit, we're happy to let you give yourself a little shameless plug here. This is your shot. Go for it, buddy.
I don't, Matt at theinsurancesquad.com, .coms. come and visit us.
And Matt's one of the good guys in the industry. We try not to have people on that we don't think are good and trustworthy and good people.
Yeah. I remember I remember spending some time with Mungia at 8%. Not this last one, but the previous year. I got to sit down and talk face to face with Matt over dinner, I believe it was, and we had a really good talk.
No, actually, it was over a lot of beer.
It was over a lot of beer. Don't tell everybody else that, but there was a lot of beer involved. But it was a really good time, and I sat down. I was like, man, that Matt guy's a pretty good dude. Not just because he's the only other M&M in the insurance business, but he actually he understands what he's talking about. And I found value in talking to you for the couple hours that we spent. It was a really, really well-versed time. And then every time that I get a chance to talk to Nick, whether it be through Facebook Messenger or on one of these, I get value. So it's just so much fun for me to do these videos with people that are way smarter than me. So it's amazing. So I really appreciate you guys coming on. Any closing words for you, Nick? You have anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think everything made sense. I was expecting more argument.
I was too. We're gonna have to bring Matt on one of our more heated videos.
Yeah.
We may have to bring one of our very first guests back if we want some super heated videos and talk about comp.
Yeah. We can always talk about comp. That always gets people hot on their collar. So
cool, man.
Although I actually think
having me on, guys.
Yeah. But
so,
if you guys haven't, and yeah, I'm gonna shut up after this, Nick. If you guys haven't, let us know what you think. Should you be a jack of all trades? Should you be a specialist? What should you do in this business? If you don't think that we're right and you don't think that you should focus on one thing for a while and switch over, let us know in the comments. Talk about it because it helps our YouTube algorithm. If you haven't and you're watching this, and I know statistically based on the number of views versus subscribers that we have, that like 19 of you are not subscribed. So we need you to hit the button to subscribe. Matt, you better be subscribed or we're gonna get really mad at you and you're never coming back.
Hit the bell for the announcements also. Otherwise we stop showing up in your algorithm, in your YouTube feed.
Really?
YouTube's changed the algorithm. So you need to, it's actually really important that you hit that alert button so that you know when we put up a new video.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Very good. Well, perfect, guys. Well, we appreciate, again, Matt, we appreciate you. Nick, I always appreciate you taking any time out of your busy schedule. And I'm just getting bitten up here in your mosquitoes. So let's get off the phone, guys. Y'all be good.
Guys.
Talk to you later.
Appreciate you. Bye-bye.
Bye.